Hello and welcome to Season 3 of At My Desk. I'm, of course, your host, Dr. William Lester, and the show is, as always, brought to you by the American Institute of Metaphysics. Here we are. It is now 2014. Everything is shiny and new, and yet somehow, inexplicably, everything is just as it always was. So, I hope that you had an excellent holiday season, and I'm very grateful to you for continuing to follow and view this program. We will continue to have these programs posted on Facebook as well as YouTube. Now, remember, and now a lot of you who are following the show already know this, but this is, I always have to factor in that we have new people coming on board. There is a Facebook page exclusively for the American Institute of Metaphysics. There is a Facebook page exclusively for me. There's two different things, but this program will be posted on both pages. Doesn't matter. Now, if you have been to the Institute Facebook page and you've been to my personal Facebook page, you will see very quickly that there are two different things going on. Okay. And, my personal Facebook page, it's just dealing with my own personal interests, my own personal tastes, my own personal likes and dislikes and ideas and worldview, etc. And of course, the Institute Facebook page is just that. It's dealing with Institute matters, articles, videos, promotional media for the Institute. But like I said, most of you know that if you're just coming on board, it's always kind of disorienting, and you're looking around and you say, well, who is Dr. William Lester? What is this Institute of Metaphysics? And if you heard that, that was just my phone going off, and somebody is trying to contact me, and I'm not going to hold it against them because they don't know that I'm doing a show right now. Anyway, so there's no real topic to this episode, which is kind of cool because every episode up till now has been, this topic, specified. But I just thought I'd kind of go all over the map with you. One of the things I wanted to hit on in this show was paranormal television shows. Now, of course, many years ago, I think this was in the early to mid 90s, we had this show Sightings, and that was one of the few shows on. And then of course we moved along, to Ghost Hunters, and then there was a UFO Hunters, and of course we have Ancient Alien, and so there's lots of shows on now. Okay. And it's gotten to the point now where these shows just seem to be coming and going. In fact, I've even seen some of the same cast members on different shows. Like they get off of one show and now they're on another show. And so if you're not really focused in, you might not even know what you're watching. They had, what was this show called? Fact or Faked. Remember that one? I say remember, but I think it's actually still in production. I'm not sure. Fact or Faked. And this was the show in which they would look at a piece of video of some alleged phenomena and decide whether or not it was worth investigating. And the cases that they felt worthy of their attention, they would set out to see if they could duplicate what was being shown on the video. Now this is a very old concept, and it is as foolish as it is old. And that is, well, if it can be reproduced, then what we're looking at over here must be fake. At best, it is woefully simple-minded. But since I don't believe the producers of the show are that simple-minded, I think it's simply that they're lazy. Why do I say that? Well, we know that someone can produce a fake UFO video. We know that someone can produce a fake ghost video. We certainly know from very, very up close and personal experience that people can produce fake Bigfoot videos. And then, of course, EVPs, being audio, can be faked as well. But the fact that you can make a fake UFO video does not mean that UFOs don't exist. So I don't understand how acknowledging that something can be faked is evidence that a phenomena does not exist. It's silly. There's a couple of shows that, in my view, are worth watching. And yes, I know it's all in the eye of the beholder. I understand that. Paranormal Witness, it's on Sci-Fi Channel, I think is well done. I think the approach to it is correct in my estimation. Similar to the other show, Monsters and Mysteries. Monsters and Mysteries. Or I think it's Monsters and Mysteries in America. I think that's what it is. But to me, both of these shows have a similar and effective construct. I like the presentation. I feel as though there's a straightforward presentation. They're giving us these accounts. They're giving us pretty good visuals. They're giving us reenactments that don't come off as just silly. So it's informative and it's entertaining. So it's a nice balance there. Now, some of these other shows where you have 4 or 5 people stumbling around in the dark, looking through night vision goggles, using digital voice recorders, flashlights. One of the silliest things I've ever seen takes place regularly on some of these shows. You'll have these paranormal research teams go to a location, a supposed haunted location, and they'll set up for their night investigation. And they'll, quote, go dark. So everything's pitch black. And they're walking through this place. Old abandoned prison. shut down mental hospital. Things that are obviously being used for the creepy, scary, almost Halloweeny aesthetic. And you'll inevitably hear a cast member say, "Oh, look, there's a shadow on the wall." And then they cut to a commercial break. You have this prefabricated drama where you're supposed to be left hanging on the edge of your seat. You can't wait for the commercial to be over so you can see what it is that they saw. And of course, when they come back from the commercial break, the guy saw his shadow on the wall. And it's like this time after time after time. And you know why? Because if you're in a building or a room that's pitch black and you're walking around with a flashlight, the only thing you're going to see are shadows on the wall. So it can get a little silly. It can get a little silly. There's one program called Mountain Monsters. And I almost didn't bring this show up because I was concerned about how people might misinterpret my impression of the show. But the people who have been following this program are accustomed to, my delivery, and they're accustomed to my candor. And so they would not want anything less or expect anything less from me. If you're a newcomer and you're seeing this show for the first time, you just kind of have to strap yourself in and get ready. Mountain Monsters is, in my estimation, the Beverly Hillbillies meet the X-Files. And this is a program, I don't know the network. It's either on Travel Channel or Destination America. I'm not sure if it's sci-fi. But on this show, you have this gaggle of barely literate, inarticulate hillbillies stumbling and fumbling all across Appalachia looking for these monsters. And it's interesting because most of these anomalous creatures that they're seeking are rarely seen. Even those creatures with a long history, they're rarely seen. But yet these cast members, these guys, are somehow, through their guile and their skill as intrepid monster hunters, are able to track down these creatures over the period of one episode. Guns drawn, and again, just pure silliness. Now, the show is on for a reason. There are enough people out there who see real entertainment value in a clutch of hicks with no shoes and overalls, tripping over each other at night in the forest with loaded shotguns. There's a lot of people out there who see that as a dream come true. And so the show goes on. I will say this. It does have entertainment value. If for no other reason than it is absolutely absurd. But it is worth watching. So, I mean, I don't want to come off as too much of a hypocrite. It is worth watching because it is ridiculous. So these are some of the programs that are on right now. I know there are lots of others. The Dead Files, which has this female psychic, and she goes through on each episode, and she goes through the most dramatic contortions and histrionics imaginable. And it's an interesting show that I feel can wear on you after a while. And then there's Ghost Adventures. Now, keep in mind, these are some shows that have been on for several seasons. They've been on for several seasons. So for whatever reason, they're working. But this Ghost Adventures is kind of like Paranormal meets the Three Stooges. You have these three guys. Again, very dramatic, completely prone to hyperbole, just carrying on in all of these supposed haunted locations, all of their EVPs, all of their orbs, all of their shadows, and all of this. And, I know that there are charges. There are charges made about that show and other shows about hoaxing and faking things like videos and EVPs. I know that those kind of allegations are out there. I don't have any personal knowledge of any particular show or individual who's engaging in that. So I'm not going to level that charge. But they don't have to be hoaxing to be ridiculous. That brings me to another kind of aspect of this. And that's something that's going on in the paranormal community in general. That's very interesting. Now, you guys all know that there are paranormal groups out there by the bushel. Every state, every city, every little town, everywhere. They're all out there. If you don't think it's true, just Google it or go to Facebook, because most of them have a Facebook page. You can just Google and you'll see every little community you want to name, and you'll see a photograph of this little group of people, 5 or 6 people in black t-shirts, because that's the uniform, right? And that's going to an extent now where that's getting silly. Usually when you go to these websites of these organizations, you'll almost always see something that says, we're different because we take a scientific approach. Yet that's on everybody's website. They're different because they take a scientific approach. Well, because of the nature of paranormal phenomena, you should already be aware that that can't possibly be true. Why? Because paranormal phenomena cannot be reproduced on demand in a controlled environment. Now, I did not say that paranormal phenomena is not real. I'm simply saying that anybody who insists that they're doing it scientifically is either misrepresenting the truth or they just don't know any better. And I think that's more what's happening than anything else. I don't think these people are being dishonest. I think that they want to be perceived as being legitimate, so they just throw that out there. We're scientific. We follow the scientific method. No, you don't, because the phenomena isn't that way. So you should consider not saying that anymore, because in essence, you're actually undermining your credibility. We can't produce paranormal phenomena on demand. We can't generate it. We can't localize it. In some instances, we can record it, but it's so anomalous, we're still asking, what it is we have captured on audio, on video. Yeah, EVPs are real. EVPs are not transmissions from a radio broadcasts or a CB or shortwave radio. They are real. But beyond that, how much more can we really say? There are instances in which EVPs seem to be responding in real time to the researchers. That's an interesting thing that needs to be looked into further. But even that's not something that's really significantly moving the meter to mainstream science. And like I've said before, I spoke about this with respect to Bigfoot. We may butt heads with the so-called mainstream scientists, but what we really want is for them to get involved with this, with these different fields. And the sillier we are, the more we inhibit or discourage or undermine that reality. Then there's the infighting in the paranormal community. That's one of those things that everybody knows about, but nobody talks about. And so it goes on and on. There's a lot of infighting. There's a lot of silliness, a lot of selfishness, a lot of stupidity. It's almost like it's a competition. People aren't sharing information. People aren't exchanging data. They're sitting on things. There are all these all this political intrigue within groups and between different groups. People get mad. They resign from one group. They go start another group, and now it's almost the splinter cells almost. And you have the religious groups who are out there, not, in my estimation, doing paranormal research, but they're trying to validate whatever their belief system is. And in my mind, they too are not helping. And here's what I mean. So you're doing paranormal research from the standpoint of, okay, what is going on? What are these manifestations about? What are these experiences that people are having? To explore and investigate paranormal phenomena should be, and I say should be, about getting a better understanding of the universe around us, the universe that we're in, the universe that we are a part of. Getting a truer understanding of that reality. It should not be about attempting to reaffirm your personal theology. Now, if that's what you're doing, and you certainly have the right to do it, let me put that out there, because today people are very quick to point out what all of their rights are. So I have to put that out there. But you're not helping the field. You're not helping the field. If you are doing paranormal research in order to validate or to um, well, let's leave it at validate. To validate your personal theology, you're not helping. Because in the end, that's only serving a selfish agenda. The only thing that that's accomplishing is you somehow being able to say, oh, I was right. We were right about what we believe. We're right. Our theology is correct. That's what you're doing. You're looking, researching, hoping for that point of validation where you can stand up and tell everybody that your theology is correct. And that doesn't get us anywhere closer to getting a truer sense of the nature of reality, the nature of the universe, and our part in it, our place in it, our role in it. You've got these people over here that, and it's the strangest thing I've ever heard in my life, and believe me, that's saying something. Uh, that UFOs and aliens are the devil. And it took me a while to get my bearings on this idea. And then I looked at who was saying it. I was like, oh. They're trying to validate their theology. It's very interesting psychology as well. And here's what's happening. Their worldview does not account for the existence of extraterrestrials. They have a very homocentric worldview. In other words, man is the center of the universe. It's all about us. However, you really can't rationally deny that UFOs exist, right? Like I've said on previous shows, we no longer have the conversation about whether UFOs exist. They do exist. So they have to acknowledge that they exist, but because of their personal theology, which cannot account for intelligent life in the universe, extraterrestrial life, technologically advanced civilizations out in the universe, how can we account for that? Well, you have to do the old thing, stick a square peg in a round hole, or a round peg in a square hole, have, your choice. You have to take that reality and you have to force it and gerrymander it and just squeeze it and make it fit your belief system. Well, yeah, UFOs are real, but it's the devil. Again, that doesn't do anything for anybody except help you validate your personal theology. So all of these things are kind of out there in the field. And I know that I will get emails, I will get comments, and people will say, oh, well, that's their right. That's their right. Nobody is implying that people don't have a right. My only interest is in what it does for the field, or the different fields. Does this get us closer to better understanding the universe around us? Or does this simply make me feel good about things? So these are some of the things I've been thinking about, certainly since the last episode. I was excited to see the return of Art Bell. And then it seemed as if as fast as he was back, he's off the air. I don't know the little particulars as to why he kind of came and went. But like most things, I dare say that it came down to some dollars and cents. So let's do a quick update on the Institute. I haven't talked a lot about the Institute in these programs, but like I said, it's a new year and we're growing and we're branching out, and that growth and branching out must be facilitated. And so I'm going to take this opportunity to kind of disseminate some information, because you might imagine I get a lot of the same questions from a lot of different people, and so I like to take an opportunity to answer the questions in a forum that a lot of people can hear. So one of the questions I always get is, are the courses that the Institute offer online? The answer is yes and no. There are a small number of courses that are strictly online. We have an online demonology program, which is very popular, and people, how can I take it? How can I take it? And then we have something called the Fortean ebook series, named after Charles Fort, of course. And that is an online program. Both of those are certification programs. And that leads me to another question that always comes in. Do you, as a student, actually get a real physical certificate for completing certification programs? The answer is yes. You get an actual physical certificate bearing the seal of the Institute. Very impressive, very attractive. You will hang it on your wall, framed, and be very proud of it. The other courses are home study. That simply means that the Institute ships the textbooks and the other materials, the assignments, what have you, to you by mail. So yes, you will get, as a student, you will get physical books. You will get a physical folder with your assignments in it. And you can read the assignments, go into your textbooks, and address the requirements of each of those courses. The other question that often comes in is about the monthly tuition payment program that the Institute has. And I can't stress this enough. So let me be clear. We put this program into effect because we wanted potential students to be able to begin their studies without having to do a large outlay of money. Okay, so the way it works is very simple. Number one, this program is available to degree students. Okay. Number two, the only thing a student needs to do to get started in the degree program, to take advantage of the monthly payment program, is to put down 10% of their total tuition price. Okay, just 10%. Now, that 10% gets them enrolled, of course, along with their registration forms and the required paperwork for their file. And each student is given a student number. But that 10% gets you enrolled, and it gets you your first shipment of materials, books, assignments, etc. Now, if you are a degree student, you never have to pay shipping throughout the duration of your degree program. So the Institute is shipping you these materials each month for free. So you've put your 10% down. You've gotten your first shipment. Well, here's what happens. Next month, we charge you on your balance no interest. The Institute will never charge interest to its students. You're simply paying interest on your tuition balance. So we charge you each month, and we ship you your materials. Whether you live in the United States or halfway around the world, and the Institute does have international students, you will not be charged for shipping. And so that's how the interest-free monthly tuition payment plan works. You have the option of 12 months or 24 months. In either case, you're not being charged interest. So you can simply select 12 or 24 months based on your own personal financial situation. I know that there are other organizations that offer payment plans, and they have interest rates, and so if you string it out for the maximum number of months in order to get a lower payment, a lower monthly payment, you end up kind of handicapping yourself because you're just kind of compounding that interest and you're paying a larger sum. Anyway, but with the Institute, there's no interest rate charged. So you can simply select your term of payments based on your, again, your financial situation. I wanted to put this out there because I get this question so many times. It's okay if you email. It's okay if I want to put this out there because we had the opportunity. Okay. Uh, and again, yes, you get actual physical books. You don't get uh, things that aren't real books. I mean, I've heard stories about what people have received dealing with other organizations, but you actually get physical books that serve their purpose. Aside from being required for the course, you're building your professional library. Um, if you are interested in the Institute, I always recommend that you follow the Institute's Facebook page. Now, you're always welcome to go to the instituteofmetaphysics.com, but what you're going to see there are the listing of courses, and it's going to facilitate student enrollment. That's where you go when you get ready to enroll. That's where you go when you want to read specific details about courses. Okay? If you want to follow the Institute day to day and see what's going on, follow the Institute's Facebook page. And just go to Facebook and type in Institute of Metaphysics. And you'll see all kinds of interesting things. We post things there hourly. Articles, videos, audio, this show. So it's a good place to be if you are a student, if you're thinking about becoming a student. Here's another thing too. If you're interested in becoming a student, call the toll-free number, 800-965-8504. I know, believe me, those of you who have watched me and listened to me, you know what I'm saying. Sometimes a person may hesitate to dial a toll-free number because they're afraid they're going to have to sit and listen to a sales pitch. The Institute does not have a sales pitch. The people who are students of the Institute found the Institute, not the other way around. There's no sales pitch. There's certainly no high pressure sales. There's no low pressure sales. There's no up sales or down sales. There's none of that. So if you have been considering studying with the Institute, just call the number. It's the quickest way that you're going to get your questions answered. You are always welcome to send an email. You're always welcome. But if you have 5 or 10 minutes, give us a call and we'll answer your questions, and we don't have to go back and forth through the email. So, it's a heck of a way to kick off season 3. And again, I really want to thank you guys for listening. Some of the people who have started subscribing to the YouTube channel, I thought that was very cool, and I take it as a compliment. And I hope you continue to listen and watch. And so we're going to call it a day on this episode. So it's been fun, and I want you to be sure to join me here again next time at my desk. I'm Dr. William Lester.